Number 7. So we talked about FHA loans. Let's talk about VA loans. Misconception number 7. VA loans are slower or harder to close.
They can be. But they also can be really smooth. It's going to depend. Again, I think the general overlying theme of today is it's going to depend on you as the borrower and what your profile looks like. I just closed a VA loan. It was maybe a 3-week close. And it was totally fine. We had no hiccups. We had no issues. You can have other VA loans because the thing with a VA loan is in a typical transaction, you can rush an appraisal. You can rush some of these things. On a VA loan, you cannot pay for a rushed appraisal. So you're kind of at the constraints of that. Like, I can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. We're just stuck. So if you have a buyer that's purchasing a VA is going to have similar requirements as like an FHA loan, which during that appraisal period, they're looking for specific things. A conventional loan is a lot more flexible than these other two programs because these are these government-backed programs. They want to make sure the houses look a certain way and have these certain components to them. So say something happens in this appraisal that then needs to be repaired before we can close. We're stuck. There's nothing I can do about it. So it can sometimes be longer. It's going to be the same way with an FHA loan. It's going to be the same thing with a USDA loan. You get kind of handcuffed to a situation that's out of your control, which can be a hassle. But again, you can have some that are super clean.
I want to expand on that a little bit, but real quick first, VA loans. Again, no stupid questions. You might not know what a VA loan is. VA is Veterans Administration. Is that correct? VA, Veterans. I know it's Veterans.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the A is.
Think so. I don't know.
And to get a VA loan, you have to have served in the United States military. Is that correct? Is there other ways to qualify for a VA loan, or is that the only way?
Yep.
You have to be a vet.
Yep, you have to be a vet in order to qualify. We'll have this question where you were married to someone and divorced. Do you have access to a VA program? Nope, you do not. It stays with the vet. VA programs are great because you can do a 0% down payment. Your qualifying income is looked at. Well, qualifying income is looked at the same, but we don't look at DTI. Your DTI can basically be whatever you want it to be as long as instead of a debt to income, we're looking at residual income, which is a very different thing. So there is a certain amount of your income that needs to be available after all of these purchases are made. And that's what we look at. We don't look at a debt to income ratio the same way as we would on any other loan. So they're extremely flexible. They're great programs. VA rates are usually lower than a lot of other programs.
So it's our government's attempt to take care of our veterans.
Yeah. So if you are eligible for that, definitely explore it.
Yeah, and then I wanted to also, on the VA, you talked about you might not qualify in certain situations, repairs. Now, this is where you need a really good real estate agent.
Yes, absolutely.
To show you the correct homes for these. Because VAs, FHAs also, but not as, I don't think as strict as the VAs. If there's some safety issues with that home, if it's not livable, like you're looking at a flip, you can't do a flip with the VA. You can't do something that's going to need some major work done. If there's safety issues, I've had things like, handrails on stairways. That's got to be there. Sometimes homes, maybe you'll qualify in a conventional if it doesn't have that handrail, but on VA they're going to want you to have that handrail on the stairs. Different things. So you make sure you get the right agent to show you the proper homes, that you're not going to fall in love with some home that doesn't qualify for a VA.
Yeah, because there's certain ones that, and even like silly things, like your water heater has to be double strapped. That's going to be FHA or VA, right? Like, and you'll walk through and it's, oh, I know for sure, which means someone has to come back out. Like, you're going to have this initial appraisal. Someone has to come back out, which just extends your...
So it's not impossible to get these homes. But but we got to make sure we're approaching it the right way.
And making sure you have the right expectations in terms of timeline, and this is what we need, this is...
And your buyer, or your seller, the seller of the home, is willing to work with you on this stuff as well.
Yep, absolutely.
So, it's you got to have great communication with the seller's agent. The buyers need that to make sure your VA goes through smoothly. And then the other thing with the VA loan, I think the only other difference I've noticed with VAs, a termite inspection. You need a termite inspection where the other loans, you don't need that.
Yep.
So, but that's simple stuff. It's easy.
Yeah. No. And again, we can do them quick.
Yeah.
Like it is going to depend on the house. It's going to depend on the borrower. They can be a hassle, but they're fine.
Yeah, VA loans are great, and we've done many of those VA loans, and salute to our veterans out there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, next misconception.